Do you want for the video, do you want the 4K? Do you want also an online gallery to keep for 2, 3, 5, 10 years?
My name is Michael Anthony, a wedding photographer out in Dallas, Texas, and you are listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast.
Today, I'm chatting with Vanessa da Silva, and I'm really excited about this one because Vanessa is primarily a videographer who also does photography, and she and her husband, Ivo, have a beautiful wedding videography and photography business, and it's going to be great to discuss this. So if you'd like to learn more about Vanessa, just go to the show notes. You can check out the link to Vanessa's website, check out all the work, and just engage with Vanessa because she's awesome. So here we go. What's up, Vanessa? How's it going?
Hi, how are you, Scott?
I'm doing all right. I'm really excited, as I just said, about this conversation, and I think it's going to be a great twist from our normal discussions that we have with all the photographers. And yes, you are a photographer, but you're also a videographer. So this is going to be so much fun. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very
Awesome.
excited to be here, and I'm ready to stir things a little bit because usually photographers and videographers have this nice, it's not competition. It's like I poke you and you poke me with little things.
Yeah. You see it from both sides of the aisle, to throw a fun wedding word in there.
Exactly. I'll start with the hot topic. Photography is easier than video. And starting out, if people don't like what I said, it's better if you don't listen because photography, it's easier. It has it has subtle differences, subtle responsibilities that it's totally up to the photographer, but it's easier.
Yeah. I think it's not only is the software and the editing side easier for photography, but even equipment wise, I feel like it's easier because, videographers, you've got to worry about a lot more, in my opinion, in real time than a photographer does. Yeah, there's always things that photographers have to adjust, but video wise, you gotta be on point. You gotta be on point.
The first time I went as a second photographer for a friend, I thought that I was on vacation. I thought how is this possible? I could be here with one camera and one lens, just navigating the wedding, being in conversations with the guests, taking a couple of photos, and just that. And I don't need to do anything else. How is this? I don't. Because the first time we did photography and video at the same time, I was doing the photography, Ivo was doing the videography, and I was photographing, but I was worried with what was needed for the video because we need a little bit more time and a lot more gear to come around with us.
Yeah. And I mean, neutral density filters on and off, and video lights on and off, and tripods. It's so much. I feel your pain. Speaking of things that make life difficult during the photographic process, what is one thing you do for the photographic process or the video process that saves you time?
I have to. It's not because I'm here, but we were talking a little bit earlier. The part of editing with Imagen definitely made a huge difference because we can make the time. I just use my time to do the culling, and then I take around 3,000 photos or 5,000 photos, depending on how many photographers, how many hours for a typical wedding. And I do the culling very fast because that's not a big amount of photos. And being able to send it to a software. And now I think that the software for me, for my color, for my editing, for what I like, it's perfect. And that is very quick. And this part, it made a huge difference because I can do that. And I have a preview very quick that I can send, and I can tell them, okay, so your wedding was amazing. Here are a few photos. And do you want to add some extras to your wedding photography package? Or do you want to, I know usually couples want to do the little thank you note. So to be able to do that quicker, and it's amazing. So this little step has made a huge impact. I have to say it.
Well, that's great. That's great. I do think, as we get down to like the editing and to the Imagen specific questions, I do think, what you said definitely stands out. Something that a lot of photographers should pay attention to is using tools like Imagen to simplify that process, to make things more efficient and give you more time to focus on that engagement with your clients. But I am wondering, for the photographic process itself, like you're behind the camera, right? You're at the wedding. At that point, what is something that you do that might save you time down the road?
I started doing video. So in camera, I expose it. I'll put my settings and I'll expose the image for video or photography as perfect as possible. So the editing will be easier. And I had a guy that I love his work, and I even love him more as a professional. He's a professional photographer for more than 20 years. That one time I heard him saying, you got to do the photography in the camera. You're not doing it after in post-production. Or you have to do it like the most perfectly as you can in camera. So, and I think that hearing that, and as I do video, because I don't do just one click, I'll have to stand there for 5 seconds. So I'll try to compose things the best I can. And usually most of the photos are okay. They're perfect too. They need maybe a little tilt because I don't know why I photograph it a bit like that. But they're the most perfect as I try to do it at the most perfect with a lot of air bunnies, as the girl from Modern Family says, the most perfect as I can in camera on the moment that I'm photographing.
So let me ask you, for those unfamiliar with videography, so the RAW for still comparison for video would be log, right? So
I say probably because the technical things, it's not my favorite. It's not what I'm very comfortable, but I'll try to.
So let maybe you have the answer, maybe you don't, and if you don't, it's okay. So with a photo, if you photograph on RAW and you got your white balance incorrect, not a problem, right? You can fix it afterwards. If you shot it with JPEG, different story. Now with video, what happens if you shoot it in whatever the regular mode is versus log? Can you fix white balance in post with video if you get the white balance wrong, but you shot it in log?
I don't think that it's so much easier as in photography. I think it's harder. I know that Ivo does the technical stuff on video, and I know that we don't shoot the same way other videographers do. In a very visual way, I know our raw images, they're like a little flat, a little grayish, and we have these
LUTs?
we have the LUTs that we put, and it makes a huge difference. And the thing is, when we are filming, we're very worried if the whites are very high, if they're very wide. We try to do it as perfect as we can in camera when we're filming. So I brought that to photography. It's not always, of course, because we're not perfect 100% of the time. But most of my photos are not like very white or very dark. No, they're usually okay, perfect to send to the software, and the software works it very well.
Awesome. So let's move into the business side. What is one thing you do for the business that saves you time or money?
Definitely hiring people that do other things better than I. Like on our, I don't know, we have a little company, and we have another company that takes care of our invoices, taxes, etc. We changed our image, and we changed our brand, not the brand, but the logo. And the girls that made an awesome logo, they did lots of things. They did like cards, they did our presentation, they sent us like a inspiration for our website. They gave us the how do you say the letters?
Oh, the typography?
The typography. So
Yeah.
I think I can look and say, oh, I can do a website, but I didn't. I asked someone. Or I can do the SEO of my website. No, I can more or less, but I would not be as perfect as a professional. So this
Right.
part of letting go things that we're not perfect or we're not very good on. I know that in Portuguese there's a word to say hiring people to give these little things to other people that they do it better than you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of us can do a lot of the tasks in our businesses, like as you said, whether it's a logo design or a website or whatever it might be. But at one point, you've got to calculate how much time is it going to take me and how much is my time worth versus just outsourcing to somebody so I can spend my time doing other things that either you're better at or either that are more creative and help drive your business in that way more than bookkeeping.
Yeah, bookkeeping. That was the word I was looking for. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
It also helps. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It also helps that Ivo and I, we do this for a long time. And now we have like each one of us has a specific tasks, not only the wedding day, but at the office. So I studied marketing and PR, so that's easy for me. And I do all of those things, and I do the clients, and he does other things. He's very good at meetings, so he does the meetings and the editing of the video. So I think it helps when you have also, if you're in a team, you have tasks, and those tasks will have this amount of time each week on your calendar, and this also helps.
Yeah, keeping things structured, split, especially when you're a couple who who own your business. You've got to have that I hit the mic. You've got to have that separation and division that has that structure, because the last thing you're going to want to do is do something that he's doing and him doing something that you're typically doing, and then there's either both of you doing the same thing and there's that overlap, or maybe you're used to doing something one way and then he comes and does it his way, and then it's not the right way for how you've been doing your business. So having that structure just keeps everything flowing smooth and smiley faces on both sides.
Exactly.
So that's so funny. Okay, so you did bring up editing a little bit ago. Do you want me to ask you this question, or do you want to move on beyond editing? Because you did bring up editing already.
Go for it.
Okay, so what is one thing you do for editing that saves you time?
For editing, maybe doing an attentive culling, because I have friends that they shoot like 10,000 photos, because the new cameras they're very quick and we're always shooting. And as I don't shoot a lot comparing to other people. The culling, if I do a good culling, when it goes to the editing, it's the process is really easy. I don't feel like editing. I wouldn't mind. Editing wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't the thing that I hated. It was just one more task. But doing a good culling really helps when all the photos come and you're like, oh, perfect. I don't have to do anything else. It's perfect.
And so when you do like a slideshow, for example, for a couple, are you mixing in the cull, right? And you're sort of telling the story of the wedding. Are you mixing in stills and video in one slideshow? And if so, are they in the cold order of time so it flows that way, or are you doing something different?
I can't. The delivery times are very different for photo and video. It's not. The thing is, we travel a lot, And it's not possible for us to, I can do like start the culling 2 or 3 days after the wedding, and I start doing the culling, and it takes me in a lazy day 1 day, and I do the culling and I send it to Imagen and it's done. For video, it's not like that. For video, our wedding films take we take between 4 to 8 months to be delivered, because we're always traveling, and our weeks are filled with traveling and being somewhere at other country, filming or photographing, coming home, doing backups, and then we're just picking up our things again to go to another wedding in another country. So I can't do that mix, the video and photography.
Yeah, you just mentioned backups. I hope that once we get to the breakdown of your entire workflow, you talk a little bit about that. But I do have one question about the travel aspect and storage. The fact that you're doing stills and video while traveling, what does your storage look like? Like, how are you managing to store all that safely, securely, without bringing heavy hard drives with you everywhere? I mean, I'm assuming you're all SSD when you're traveling, but what does that look like?
So when we're traveling, if we're doing photos and video, at the end of the wedding, we have a laptop and we have a little SSD, the quickest we got. And our cameras have 2 SD card slots. So we keep one, not in the pocket, but almost an imaginative pocket, one in the pocket. We keep the other, we try to, how do you say it? We try, like, I keep one, Ivo keeps another. And at the end of the wedding, he'll be doing the backups of all the videos and all the photos in the laptop and in an SSD. So we have four things traveling with us. That's great. And when we come home, we'll do it to the cloud and 2 or 3 hard drives. Redundancy. Nice. It's a good word.
Yeah, redundancy is so important. With video, gets very expensive. A little bit. A lot of storage. Okay, so let's now talk about after a session happens. What is one thing you do after a session or a wedding, right? So you finish a wedding. What is one thing you do afterwards that has increased business?
So when the pandemic hit, we lost all of our weddings for that year. And I was invited to a photographers and videographers women group. And while we were talking about lots of things, there was one girl that said, oh, this year I'm going to do some money with albums that for couples, they didn't buy an album from me. And she was talking about that, and I thought, well, we do mostly video. Albums are a thing that it's normal for photographers. But for video, I didn't have anything. And I would start looking at all of the things we did, photo and video. And I start to look like I have to have something here that I can try to make some money after the wedding. That is just not just a wedding album, a photography wedding album. Because I know there's lots of things, but we do lots of international weddings. And our clients won't be able to buy a lot of things like prints and wedding albums and, I don't know, lots of physical things. So I try to do, maybe 2 or 3 days after the wedding, I send them an email saying how wonderful their wedding was. And I add some things beyond the wedding album, like the online gallery. Do you want to keep your online gallery for 10 years? Do you want to give access to all of your guests for 10 years? Do you want for the video, do you want the 4K? Do you want also an online gallery to keep for 2, 3, 5, 10 years? So that little email right after the wedding, when things are very exciting still for the clients, really helped us to make some money.
Do you offer, or have you considered offering, and maybe this is more of a gimmick type of thing, I'm not sure because I don't do video work for clients, but what about those digital frames that are designed for photos, but you could put videos on them? What about selling a digital frame for a wall preloaded with the couple's wedding video?
I Actually, I have one here. Try, but it's like more like an album, like a book. You open it, and inside you can personalize it, and inside there's like a little screen that you can how did you say it?
Preload
with their wedding video. I have because I tried one, it wasn't good, and I'm trying another one to see if it works.
Technology, eventually there's going to be the technology that can help videographers sell more physical goods, and maybe this is it.
I know that we don't use. Sometimes we use it, but there's another gimmick. I don't know if it's gimmick, if it's the word for videographers. Is you can sell also like an Instagram teaser a few days after. Most videographers don't like it because they really like the horizontal image. Yeah, but this also works.
Yeah, interesting. We're gonna move into my favorite part of the show. Pick a color.
Green.
Okay. I think the last two were orange, so great. Okay, I'm going to thumb through these cards. Tell me when to stop.
Okay. You're already doing it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. My next question to you is, I swear I think somebody got this question in the past, which I don't know what the chances are, but what instantly makes you not like another person?
Oh, if they're mean with dogs or cats or animals.
Wait. They have to be mean, but they have to have a pet?
No, it's like when people say, oh, I don't like animals. Like in general.
if they don't like animals.
Yeah, okay. I don't like cats. I don't like dogs. I'm like, why? Or I don't like horses.
Yeah, wait, what do the horses ever do to you?
Have you ever been close to a horse? No, but I don't like them. That's something that I heard someone talk about cats. And I asked him, but why? Did you have like a trauma thing with a cat?
Right.
No, I just don't like them. Why? They're just...
Yeah. That's weird. I love looking at horses, but they do scare me because they are big animals, and you just never know. You never know. So I don't not like them. I do like them, but they scare me. just because if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you never know. But yeah, they are beautiful animals. Okay. So this is going to be an interesting one. If you can look at your business from a 30,000 foot view down, or meters, and if you can please share an outline breakdown of your workflow from lead to delivery. So when the lead comes in until you deliver the photos.
Okay, so this is going to be a long one for me. I don't know. I don't remember. I listened to a few episodes, and I thought that I was writing it now, and I thought everyone is very good. They resume things very good, and I don't know if I can do it. But usually, so we get the lead, we get an information request. Are you available? What are your prices? We try to know a little bit more than just the day and the place, because sometimes we understand that maybe we're not the right fit for that wedding. Maybe it's over our head, and we're not able to do what they're imagining, or to know if they have the budget. Sometimes they don't have the budget, then why? I don't think that I should make them waste a lot of time with us if they after all, we don't have the budget. But usually we try to ask some questions, send them like a personalized quote, personalized quotes that go right to what they want, because maybe it's a small wedding and they just need one photographer. Maybe it's a huge wedding and they need 3 or 4 photographers. It depends. When we send that, a few days after, we do a follow-up. After the follow-up, we try to make a meeting so they can ask us questions in video or and put a name to a face, so it's easier for them. If they like us, if the quote is perfect, they book us. When they book us, we send them like a little style book just to help with those little details that we as wedding photographers and videographers are very used to. But they are getting married for the first time, and sometimes they forget to brush their teeth before leaving for the ceremony. And then we send them little tokens of friendship. We send them a postcard just to say thank you for booking us. And we send them a little traditional, I think I have one here. We send them a traditional handkerchief that it's Portuguese. This is handmade by some cute ladies that we met, and they do this with their names. We send this to them so they're feeling they have their something blue, and they can have a little bit of our tradition, our Portuguese tradition.
Yeah.
And then we go to the logistical things. We have a big questionnaire where we ask a lot of questions. We probably have a meeting with a wedding planner so we can figure everything out. We may have another meeting before the wedding. And then
even when they're travel weddings, you still sometimes meet with a wedding planner virtually, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because usually for us now it's very normal to be traveling and all the logistical things, the flights, the hotel, the car, where do we have to be, where are we eating? We do that before. So, but even so, some wedding planners want to meet just to make a breakthrough of the day. And if we're doing video and photo, we'll be needing a little bit more time during the day for some things of video. We like to have a good audio, so we need like 20 minutes before the ceremony to take care of the audio that photography doesn't need. The photographer goes, takes 5 photos of the ceremony.
Another piece of gear.
And the videographer has to mic the priest or the celebrant, mic the groom, redundancy, find another spot to put another recorder. Yeah. So we have these little mini, then backups. Then we start doing, for photography, we can do a preview because it's easier and faster than video. And then it's going to be a couple of weeks or a couple of months for video, and we deliver it. Was it okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so nice to see that when you've got a very busy wedding photography business, wedding photography and videography business, that you still have the systems in place and you still have, these steps that you take that are very repetitive, but ensure that, you're going to, let's say you're flying to the United States for a wedding, which hopefully that happens often. But let's say you're flying to the United States for a wedding, here's where I have to be, here's when the wedding starts, here's when I can go and mic the person up, and here's where I'm going to eat, and you're not going to eat junk, and so on and so on. That everything's in place beforehand, and afterwards you got everything in place for that. It's good. It's good to have that.
It helps with everything, because if you have like this method, we didn't one day was, today we're being very methodical. No, there's things that you start repeating, and we had to write it and say, okay, so they contact us. What's happening next? This is happening next. So it's easier because sometimes we get, for example, for leads, sometimes we get leads when we are in another country, just on our phones, and it's easier if I know what's happening next. Okay, I have a new lead. What am I doing next? It has to be a little bit quicker. Then you're not on your office and you're not going to be thinking about, what do I want to answer this person? No, you're going to be a little bit quick on your feet, more or less.
Yeah. Nice.
It also gives you space to be creative and to the other things, because the other things are like automated. You know what you're doing, so
it's hard to go from business to creative. It's hard for the brain to shift back and forth. So if you have the business part so structured, it makes it so that you can just quickly do what you need to on the business and get back to the creative without switching. You're switching 1% of your brain to business so you can get back to that 99% of creative real fast. So it's good to be able to do that. Plus, having both of you also, again, means that some of it can go to him. You can take some of it.
Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps.
Split. Yeah.
That's why
just to bring everything full circle.
Yeah, every time I talk to someone who's a lone photographer, I think it's even important to have lots of things in your business life to be like hire other people to do those things that you don't want to do. If you just like to photograph, maybe get someone to answer emails and take care of the website and take care of social media. Hire someone. Yeah. And if you have to raise your prices to do that, you'll be happier in the end. Because
there's a lot of virtual assistants as well that in the photo industry all over the world that all they do is that kind of stuff for photographers. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you think you need a VA, go to the Imagen community and say, are there any VAs that work with, people, photographers in this area of the world? And, I'm sure there's some, I know personally there's one VA that's in the community that I know her, and she's always working with many photographers, especially here in the US, but I'm sure there's others in the Imagen community that could help too.
And I really think that the work in the end, the work will get better because you're only doing what you like.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let's dive into a topic that I love talking about. And I have a feeling that this is going to be an interesting answer because you're approaching it from video first. What does the future of AI in videography and photography look like to you?
Well, for videography, I hope that for videography, if we get something like Imagen for color, I bet it will be great for lots of videographers. Mm-hmm. But the thing that the videography needs now, I don't know how that can work, but it's something that maybe it helps with the culling. I know it's not of the culling of the images, because that's the hardest part in video. AI already does. It's possible with After Effects, do like the Photoshop AI, you can take out people. But I think that if we get something that really helps, that you can teach, like you teached Imagen, that your color is like this, please make my color always like this and have a consistency in color. If that comes with culling, that you can teach like an AI to, I like these kind of clips and I want like 5 seconds of this. If you can teach that to AI, I think it's going to make lots of videographers very, very happy.
I'm sure it will.
For photography,
I'll definitely have to No, I definitely have to share that answer with our product team.
Yeah, I bet they will love that. Yeah. If they could have like this podcast, the video part edited, or like a first editing, a rough cut, did by an AI, I think they would love it.
Yeah. You were going to say something else as well before I.
Yeah, for photography, we already have the culling, we already have the editing for the color. I would love that came something. The thing is, in photography, like the photos, I don't think AI will help anymore. Maybe AI can help us with bookkeeping, with email, helping with social media, all those boring things and repetitive tasks that you keep doing. Yeah. Because on the creative part, it has to be you. I'm not a super fan of the AI art that we're seeing. And the other day I read something that I think it went viral that said that I want AI to do my dishes.
Right.
And cook for me and clean my house. I don't want AI to do art.
Yeah. The robot vacuum has been a game changer in this house. That's for sure.
And in my house, I have 2 cats.
Yes. I had two cats. Unfortunately, we just lost one. So I'm now to one cat, but he's the shedder. So yeah, robot vacuum for the win.
We need something to do our dishes and maybe clean our windows and steam our clothing. Those things that you don't want to be wasting time with.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I hear that, I think of the Jetsons. Did you ever watch the Jetsons?
I love the Jetsons. That you entered a thing and then you were all dressed
clean.
up.
Yeah. I'm done.
That's what I wanted AI to do.
Yeah. Make us the Jetsons with fun flying vehicles. Okay, so you in the beginning of this conversation brought this up, but I want to hear on a more personal note, how did Imagen impact your life?
I was okay. This is the honest answer. Sometimes when I was editing, if I started editing in the morning and then I went out to lunch and then I came back, answered some emails, and got to editing right after, the temperature of my photos were always like that.
Oh yeah.
So my photos started in North America, very blue, and they ended in Africa, very warm.
Oh man.
And when I was doing the review, I was like, why is this blue? What happened? So I had to edit. Sometimes I had to edit half of the wedding because suddenly they were very different. And Imagen is very consistent. So it makes a wedding to be perfect from the start to the end. Very consistent. And I really love that. Because that was a flaw I had that Imagen did for me. That and photographing like that.
Yeah.
The tilt on the... So I always do the straighten in Imagen because I'm a bit...
No matter how straight you think you are, you're never straight.
No, I'm always a bit crooked. So the part of the temperature was my flaw, was a big flaw of mine, and it comes perfect.
Yeah. And you know what? It's perfectly human to... that it's totally human to be working on something, go get lunch, go get a tea or a coffee and come back, and then what you're doing changes slightly, you know? Emotions and how your body feels plays a huge role in the creative part of your brain. So, you know, it's definitely a valuable thing to take the human emotion out of a task that needs a repetitive feel to it. So that in that way, all of that stuff is done. So now you can go and look at those photos from the creative mindset, the more creative mindset of, oh, okay, now do I need to take this exit sign out? Do I need to, do a little bit of blemish touch-ups or whatever it might be, you know? That's where you should be spending your time, not fixing cool to warm photos.
Because when you spend... At least this is my opinion, right?
Yeah.
This is what I think. When I spend a little too much time with a photo, suddenly I'm seeing things that nobody else is seeing. But because I'm looking at it like for 5 minutes, I think, oh, this orange, it's a little bit green. I have to change it. Nobody's seeing that.
Nobody,
This is like a point. This has to be a little bit more darker. And it's nothing. Yeah. And sometimes I have Ivo here and I ask him, isn't it better? And he's like, it's the same. I'm not, what? And I'm like, it's not the same. See, before, after, it's radically different. And he's like, no, it isn't. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. How are you?
Yeah.
And this way it comes, it's normal because we're going to the details that nobody's seeing.
Yeah. Only you. Yeah. I mean, I think that's so interesting too, that your other half who you work with on a daily basis the fact that he doesn't see a difference that's like a make or break a photo, right? That says a lot. That like you don't have to beat yourself up over a slight thing. If it's your style overall and it's consistent, you win. Really, at the end of the day. So
yeah, and imagine if you're losing like 5 minutes with each photo and you have 1,000 photos. It's a long time you're wasting just with these little details. That one thing is to, and usually photos, I make the download of the photos and I go through it and I'm like, oh, it's good. Okay, maybe it's a little, it's good. Mostly they're consistent, and that's very important for me.
100%. Well said. Vanessa, it has been so fun chatting with you. I'm so glad that you're able to hop in and share your insights coming from this sort of very diverse perspective of two parts of a wedding that most imaginers don't get to experience themselves, right? Most are experiencing one side and seeing the videographers do their thing, like we said, on the other side of the aisle. So thank you for sharing your knowledge and your workflows from your multi-seat perspective.
Thank you for giving me the space to.
Yeah. So where can our listeners learn more about you, connect with you, and of course see your incredible photography and videography?
So they can come to our website, that it's our home, on vanessaevo.com, or they can go to our Instagram, Vanessa and Evo.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And
thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. You have been listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast. To hear more from Workflows, to learn more about our guest, and for an exclusive offer for Workflows listeners, please go to workflowspodcast.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.